Wulong Fallen Dynasty review. If they want to give me a beta key to play it early, hi, just DM it to me on Twitter. I'll check my DMs. Okay, nobody sent me anything yet.
At this point, it's probably fair to say that Team Ninja has a pretty good handle on this whole Souls-like genre thing. Wulong Fallen Dynasty may not reach the same heights as Nioh 2 did back in 2020, but it certainly scratches that same itch of lightning-fast combat, punishing yet rewarding difficulty, and deep build customization options that you can craft and tailor to your own playstyle.
Yeah, it seems cool.
And it accomplishes that feat while completely changing up the fundamentals of its combat system to be closer to Sekiro than Dark Souls.
Great.
By that same token, it also falls victim to the same familiar issues nagging at those other Team Ninja Souls-likes.
Like what?
Including subpar storytelling and excessively fiddly loot mechanics.
That sounds annoying. I don't really care about the storytelling that much. I mainly play these games for the combat.
Does better than just about any other game in this genre. That baggage amounts to scratches on an otherwise pristine set of armor.
Okay. Nice of him to do like a little synopsis there. Parry Party.
If you're familiar with the Three Kingdoms era of Chinese history, you may get more out of Wulong's story than I did. My knowledge basically begins and ends with the fact that you should not pursue Lu Bu.
Okay. Well, yeah, that didn't fucking... It says crushing defeat. I think
it won't be a highlight because Team Ninja continues to struggle with telling a memorable story with likable characters.
Oh, that's good.
This
so it
is
won't
a
even matter.
supernatural take on the final days of the Han Dynasty.
Damn, bro, you grabbed that dude's fucking hair and slit his throat right in the middle of the fucking cinematic? That is brutal.
Where we take control of a nameless warrior who gets swept up in a power struggle between warring kingdoms and their pursuit of an elixir of immortality. In practically every mission, you team up with some sort of historically significant warrior to fight through a level, have a boss battle against an evil or corrupted historically significant warrior, and then move on to the next one. Characters are introduced at a rapid-fire pace and leave the scene just as quickly, often without making any sort of impact on the overall story. Sometimes they return many hours later, but I'd already forgotten them because they didn't really do anything meaningful. Fortunately, the actual gameplay in between the
See, like, I don't even, like, I'm not even, this just looks cool. I mean, because they're fighting with, like, swords and shit. Like, I don't really care about the story that much. I mean, as long as it looks cool, like, that's all that matters.
Scenes make up the vast majority of what we're here to do. And it's there that Wulong shines the brightest.
The Dance of Combat. Okay, so everything has like
Wulong's
levels and
combat
gear.
is a puzzle that needs to be figured out really quickly if you plan on getting past even the first major boss. But once you solve it, it's incredibly satisfying to play around.
Well, that's what really matters.
Similar to Sekiro, it's a system that relies on carefully timing deflections so you can preserve your spirit meter while also avoiding damage.
Got it.
Especially when enemies also start mixing in powerful, unblockable attacks that have to be parried rather than blocked. Crucially, though, you can completely negate damage from regular attacks
it's like a Mariki
just by
counter
holding down the block button, so long as you have enough spirit built up to avoid having your guard broken. You can even hold down the block button while also attempting to deflect, making it so that even if you're too late on the deflection timing, you'll still block the attack.
Yeah, that's what people do in Sekiro.
Wulong has this leniency built in because in practically every other regard,
I wonder which historical thing that is.
Punches. Enemies will regularly power through your attacks to deal a more powerful blow of their own. They have combos that go on for days.
That's not really that long. That reminds me of the centipedes in Sekiro, where they have like the attack, and then like at the very end they do the big attack that can break your posture. Yeah, so that's not that big of a deal.
And they do a really good job at varying up the rhythm of their attacks to try and bait you into parrying too early. It rewards a careful eye and punishes falling into a predictable rhythm. Even with all that though, it's not nearly as hard as Nioh 2, for reasons I'll get to later. But it still manages to find a really satisfying balance of
Well, I feel like the reason why Sekiro was so hard is because you couldn't overlevel. Like, you couldn't just go and get better gear. Because it just didn't, the game didn't work that way. So if you can do that in this game, I mean, fuck.
Tough, fair, and absolutely exhilarating once you start to pick up on an enemy's attack patterns and find yourself deflecting each hit of
I never played Nioh 2.
One clever wrinkle is that your spirit meter is also a resource that can be spent on spells, special martial arts abilities,
holy shit,
and spirit attacks.
Wow.
It's a nice risk-reward mechanic that lets you put yourself in a potentially more vulnerable position in order to gain some sort of advantage.
Yeah, sure, it makes sense.
If you know an enemy has an elemental weakness, for instance, you can exploit that by spending spirit to enchant your weapon with an element to stagger and quickly break them.
Okay, so that's kind of like Dark Souls, where, like, for example, if you're fighting, I don't know, I think Cleric Beasts and Amelia are, like, extra vulnerable to fire, where, like, other NPCs are more vulnerable to shock. Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
These are unique depending on the weapon that you're wielding, and there are many that offer powerful attacks that can either do big single target damage or give you a way to deal with many enemies at once. Finally, spirit attacks are powerful strikes that increase in damage the more spirit you have built up, which gives you another reason to try to hold onto your spirit meter until you need it.
It sounds stupid, but I like how they have damage numbers in this game. I don't know if I mentioned that. I probably did, but I'll mention it again. I like damage numbers a lot. I like seeing how much damage and what I'm doing.
If it's not already clear, there are tons of layers to Wolong's combat, which greatly enhances the already excellent swordplay by laying out a ton of options and ways to vary up my strategy whenever I found myself dying repeatedly to a particular boss. If just straight up attacking didn't work, I could focus more on defense and reduce their spirit by deflecting big attacks.
I feel like I'm just going to use the big mace and kill everything with the big mace. I mean, because you think about it, right? So you have the big NPCs like this. You fight them like a Dark Souls boss, and then you have the small NPCs. Bro, there's no way somebody's gonna get hit by that massive fucking mace and then not fall down. They're gonna get staggered by it every time. So you just stun lock people with the mace. Vort's hammer,
I can double down on rushing them down and trying to break their spirit with aggressive attacks and martial arts abilities. Or if I could figure out what they're weak to, I could try using spells.
That's easy too.
Wolong is certainly tough, I never felt like I was ever stuck against a wall with no idea of what else I could try or how to overcome a particular challenge.
So he should have used the hammer with this.
Where Wolong feels very similar to the previous 3 Team Ninja Souls-likes, in a bad way, is in its loot. More specifically, there's an overabundance of it. I became absolutely inundated with garbage gear that I had no use for within just a few hours.
That is really fucking stupid and annoying. And if there's not a way of, oh no, if I scroll down, like it says right here, you can sort these things. So you'll probably be able to sort them by level, by item level, or damage, or something like that. It doesn't really seem like it's a big deal. I will also say that I don't like upgrading in games like this because sometimes I'll want to use different weapons, and I feel like games that like have upgrading systems that are only for a singular weapon make it to where you don't want to try other weapons because you've already invested the most into your main weapon.
And only got worse after that.
And if you look at the special effects and stuff like this, morale, rank points gain, so these are obviously like locked traits that I guess you'd unlock if you get a higher tier of the item. Defense, physical resistance, spirit defense. This seems like, I am assuming that this reminds me a little bit of like Hogwarts Legacy, where you had like all these complicated things with like the gear and like how it could be enchanted and upgraded and you could put gems in it. But it's like, you don't need any of that. Like, why the fuck would this even matter at all? So I feel like whenever they develop a game with all of these like complexities, you have to make a boss and make content that warrants the complexities.
I'm just not the kind of person who really wants to spend 10 to 15 minutes in a menu trying to decipher whether a minus 2.6 reduction in martial arts spirit...
Yeah, this is the most lame, like, fucking bonuses. Minus 2.6%. Bro, this is like New World. That's the kind of buffs they have. It's so annoying. It's so bad.
...is worth sacrificing a 7.2 genuine chi obtention. Those simply aren't interesting decisions.
No, all I'm going to do... I'm going to tell you guys how I'm going to play this game. There will be a trait that is some sort of a broken stagger melee trait, and I will just stack it on every piece of gear, and every attack that I do will stagger the boss, or every other attack, and it will just stun lock the boss, and I'll beat the whole game. That's probably what's going to happen.
Those are spreadsheet entries and math problems, and it's made worse by not even being able to sort your massive list of weapons by set, or by a specific special effect that you're looking for.
That is really
now,
annoying.
I am fully aware that there are people who love these games for this level of hyper-specific build optimization.
I don't think that there are that many of those people, because those people are playing Path of Exile.
And if that's you, you'll find a lot to appreciate here. You can salvage junk gear to extract their special effects, then slot those special effects into weapons that you want to use,
I play Paul.
and then
Yeah,
you can
same.
copy the appearance of any weapon or armor, so you don't have to worry about being forced to use an ugly weapon or armor set because it has great stats. It's fairly exhaustive in its options, but it's also not for those of us who prefer action to menu screens.
Sure.
Fortunately, I found that I didn't have to get too far into the weeds.
I hope that they have a way for, because I think that his complaint is legitimate, 100%. I hope that they have a way for you to just press a button and it just equips all your highest item level gear. Like, regardless of, like, trait or whatever, or the traits have, like, weighted values. So the game can just, like, pick it for you. So you don't actually have to go through and, like, min-max this stuff. Because it's like, it's not like this is a skill, like, you don't have to be big brain to see 495, is that bigger than 516? 516, bigger number, put on better gear. Done. Like, this is fucking caveman, like, gameplay here. So if you have just a button that just does it for you, I have no problem with that. Hopefully they have that.
On my first playthrough, because I was more than powerful enough just by engaging with loot on a surface level. No major tweaking was necessary to keep me from falling behind the power curve.
I will play this game on the hardest difficulty. Unless it's some, like, oh, if you die, you have to restart at the beginning or something stupid like that. I will play this game at the hardest difficulty because I find that makes it the most interesting.
Leaving the complexity for those who are...
I love how y'all cap that, but, like, I fucking played Hogwarts Legacy hard as possible. It's the hardest difficulty. I didn't even ever take any advantage that I possibly could. I still beat the shit out of that game.
To test their mettle in the multiple iterations of New Game Plus or PvP invasions.
Raising morale. So look at the hammer.
One of my
so
favorite
good.
new ideas in Wolong is the addition of morale.
You see what I'm saying with this hammer? Like, I saw how big that hammer was. Bro, every time he hits somebody with that hammer, they're stunned. This hammer's broken.
Ranks, which is basically a separate progression system that starts at 0 at the beginning
It's a
of every
massive
main mission
fucking pine
and
cone.
goes all the way up to 25. You gain morale simply by defeating enemies, but you'll gain it even faster by killing them using spirit attacks, martial arts abilities, or critical strikes.
Alright.
You will also lose some morale every time you die, up to a certain point determined by your fortitude level, which you can increase by finding various flagpoles throughout each mission.
Okay.
Enemies have morale ranks too, and those with a higher rank than you deal more damage. I love this addition because it gives every level a very natural ramp up in difficulty while adding extra incentive to explore and mop up more bad guys.
That's
Each level
good.
begins fairly easy. A bunch of low morale rank enemies make up the majority of foes, with a few high ranked monsters sprinkled here and there to give you an occasional challenging fight. By the time you're near the end of the level though, you're regularly going up against rank 20 enemies and bosses that will be really tough to deal with if you haven't been thorough in cleaning out the opposition.
I'm probably going to go and, like, 100% clear the zone, so it's not that big of a deal.
Much like Neo, Wolong's campaign is broken up into main missions and side missions. With
Okay.
the main missions taking you through humongous levels, from castles to active battlefields to
Very
jails
cool.
with Dark Souls-like poison ponds on the ground floor.
Of
And
course.
the side missions typically having you revisit those settings with some sort of fun twist with regard to the objective.
I like the stylizing of the game, but I feel like it's very, it's like there's so much detail in it, it almost gets into like a pixel soup type situation where it's hard to really appreciate the design of the characters because everything is so ornate and like over-designed. Yeah, too many visual effects,
and
yeah.
Replacements.
Personally.
Some of my favorite side missions even have you sparring against your allies in challenging boss battles.
That's
One
cool.
of the really great things that Wolong does is that it allows you to exit out of the mission from a battle flag and save your progress on that main mission. This is a wonderful safety net because frequently what can happen in these games is you can find yourself underleveled and stuck on a main mission. Here you're allowed to back out to the level select, complete some side missions to level up or get new gear, maybe head to your secret
That's
village
cool.
home base to upgrade that gear, and then return right to where you left off on that main mission without feeling like you've lost your hard-fought progress. The levels themselves won't win any awards for how they look, but they're all very well designed from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, I look at this and it doesn't really, like, it looks really cool, but it's not like it's impressive kind of cool. It's like they just it seems cool but yet generic.
Branching paths that often allow you to find an easier way through a particularly tough area, and tons of easily missable optional detours leading to bountiful rewards keep them from being straightforward paths from point A to point B.
That's nice.
Wo Long's biggest problem, bigger than the loot issues and the poor storytelling, is its enemy variety. Even though the combat
I just got done playing Hogwarts Legacy, where there's like 7 different mobs in the entire game. So this isn't going to bother me.
System is excellent and varied. There's simply not enough different types of opponents to fill a game of this size. The ones that are here are fantastic and fun to fight, don't get me wrong. But part of the fun of a Souls-like is encountering a new threat, learning their attack patterns, and finding a way to get through the fight without taking heavy damage.
Yeah.
In Wo Long, I felt like I figured out everything I needed to know to get through every non-boss encounter by hour 5 of a game that, in total, took me about 22 hours to beat.
Yeah, I felt that way about Hogwarts Legacy very much, and it was super disappointing for me to play Hogwarts Legacy and then see how, like, I remember I did the last boss, the, was Ranrock? Yeah, Ranrock, and that boss was really good, and it actually kind of depressed me, because it was like, what the fuck? This boss is amazing. It's so well designed. Why did I have to spend my entire time playing this game killing trolls that just don't take any damage? Like, I wish they had 20 more bosses like that. If they did, it would be amazing.
Took out a lot of the tension and fear of death that these games thrive on. Without the anxiety that something unexpected might be lying in wait around the next corner, Wo Long is still a very challenging game, but one that lacks a certain sense of adventure. It's also worth mentioning that Wo Long also includes online co-op for up to 3 players, an extensive new game plus for those who want to min-max their characters to the extreme, and even has PvP invasions, which you can opt out of if you'd prefer to deal with relatively easy AI invaders. Unfortunately, not enough people were playing ahead of launch for me to test the competitive multiplayer features out for this review, but cooperative play is super easy to set up and play through, just like it's been with prior Team Ninja Souls-likes. You can either recruit random strangers into your game from within a level when you need help, or you can start a level fresh from the beginning with a friend.
Verdict. Is that a panda?
Wo Long Fallen Dynasty's combat plays very differently from Team Ninja's own Neo games, more in the mold of Sekiro than Dark Souls. And yet it manages to...
see, it's even got those, like, obviously that's like a stealth, like, kill point. It's the exact same as Sekiro has.
Excel and falter in just about the same areas. When it comes to the clashing of melee weapons, Wo Long is among the best in the genre. Full stop. The options for taking down its ferocious enemies are many and immensely rewarding to master, and its deflection-heavy combat is one of the most satisfying since Sekiro. All of those strengths outweigh an overbearing loot system, poor storytelling, and even a disappointing lack of variety in enemies. If not for that, Wo Long might have been one of Team Ninja's greatest achievements. As it is, it's simply a great one.
I mean, that seems fine to me. I mean, I feel like if that's true, this game is going to be a 9 for me. Because I don't really give a shit that much about the story or any of that other stuff. Yeah, it's important, but it doesn't really matter as much as the combat. Like, I'm mainly a combat guy.
Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, make sure to check out the first minutes of the game. And for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
Yeah, this is really cool. But enemy variety? I mean, that's probably one of the worst things about it, I would say. Yeah, having low enemy variety. But, like, with a lot of these games, there's not really... I don't think there's as much enemy variety as people might imagine, but... I don't know. I'll have to play it and see for myself. As I said, Hogwarts Legacy had some of the worst enemy variety in a video game that I've ever played. It was incredibly bad. Unbelievably bad. It was probably one of the worst things about the entire game. However, it was still fun. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, this reviewer even play until the end or just a demo? I don't think you have to... I mean, do you have to play the game? What do you guys think? Do you have to finish a game in order to review it? I'm so hard pressed to say... I'm so hard pressed to say no. Or not to say yes. Let me think of a way to say it. Yeah. It depends on the game. Yeah. That's the thing. Is like, for example, I'm thinking like for Dark Souls. Like, you should have to beat the game in order to review the game. With Sekiro, you should have to beat the game in order to review the game. But there's a lot of games that don't have like an explicit win condition. Like, I don't know, like New World, right? Or like an MMO, basically. So how do you rate something like that? It's very hard to say. Like WoW, for example. Yeah, or Fortnite. So Cuphead. Cuphead, yeah, I think you should at least have to, with some of those challenge games, I think that you should at least have to do 70, 80% of the game. I don't think you can do 20% of any game, hardly, and then give it a full review unless it is just so bad that you don't even want to continue it. You see what I'm saying? Like, there are a couple of times where playing through a game for a few hours and not even completing it is more than enough to review it because that entry experience is so bad, nobody wants to even go farther beyond that. If a game has an MSQ, you should at least finish that. Yeah. Or it should be so bad that you just are like, okay, this did not hold my attention. I didn't like it. I'm done. Which I also think is fair. I think it's very fair. I'll link you guys the video. This seemed like a pretty well-balanced review. And again, we are going to play this tomorrow whenever the full version comes out. I am aware there's a demo. If somebody gives me a key to play the game early, I will play the game early. But I'm just probably going to wait till tomorrow. And I want to play this game. And I'll probably play this game for like 6 hours, 8 hours tomorrow. I fully intend on investing a lot of time into it. Basically gave up on Hogwarts because I'm so bored of it, but I'm confident that it's about a decent 7. Yeah, I mean, like, it depends on what you place value in. And I think that also does matter. And it's not like a person's... The problem is that whenever you talk about, like, giving a review of a game, I think that a review of the game, this is a little bit of, like, a vocabulary. Because somebody's first impressions of a game can sometimes be more important than the review. Because if the first impressions are so bad, then you're never going to get to the potential good part whenever the game is towards the end of the game, right? Because that's what happens. And I think also with other games, the review matters a lot. But you can't really rate the entirety of a game unless you've played, I would say, the entirety of the game. So I think that if you review a game and you don't finish it, or you haven't done as much as you would have wanted to with the review, you should contextualize your review around that. Like, for example, whenever I did my review of New World, I said very clearly at the beginning of the video, I didn't do a lot of PvP, and I'm not going to talk about it. And that's it. So I think that as long as you contextualize, this is what I'm really reviewing, and this isn't, then I think it's fine.